organizational goal and effectiveness. Organizations are goal-directed, and their effectiveness in pursuing those goals influences the quality of our lives, even their ability to survive. Virtual all management and organization theory is concerned with the performance and effectiveness, at least the implicity. And all of it has the same way concerned with the challenges of getting an organization and the people in it to perform well. This discussed the major issues about the organizational goal and the goals of the public organization, including the observation of the other authors have made about how public organization and goals influence their other characteristics. Executive and official in the government business. A non-profit organization emphasizes the goal and effectiveness in a variety of ways. One can hardly look at the annual report or the website of an organization without encountering its mission statement, which expresses the organization's general goal. Very often, one also sees the statement of the core values that express general objectives. And on the website of many government agencies, one can review the organizational strategy plan or the performance plan, which express its specific goal and performance measure. All of the major federal agencies have the strategic plan with the goal statement or the performance plans, or the both in their website and in their annual report. The Government Performance and Result Act, or GPRA of 1993, directed each federal agency to develop such plans and subsequent report of their performance in relation to the goals. Websites now make available copies of all the federal agencies' strategic plan and performance plans. For example, on the website of the Social Security Administration, or SSA, which is the money paid out is the largest federal program, one can review the 2013 to 2016 performance plans, U.S. Social Security Administration, or 2013.
Strategic goals, an approach to strategizing by public organizations or other entities that integrates strategy of formulation and implementation, and typically includes strategic planning to formulate strategies, ways of implementing strategies, and continuous strategic learning. Strategic Goal 1. Deliver quality disability decision and services. Lessen the time of waiting for hearing decision and remove the incomplete hearings. Then, improve the disabled policies, procedures, and tools. Last, make the cases accomplished sooner for the most individual. Strategic Goal 1 says that organize the essentials and remove the unnecessary ones in order to deliver quality disability decisions and services. Strategic Goal 2. Provide quality service to the public. Increase the use of our online services. Increase public satisfaction with our telephone services. Expand the use of video services. Improve the clarity of our notice. For Strategic Goal 2, it is more on public service. And nowadays, we are more on technologies, so it needs to have a good quality on online services. And technology can use for people's satisfaction. Strategic Goal 3. Preserve the public's trust in our programs. Increase efforts to accurately pay benefit. Recover improper payments. Maintain accurate earnings records. Make our administrative operation even more efficient. In Strategic Goal 3, it shows what way the people trust your program even more. And in order to gain the public's trust, you need to show them how accurate, proper, and efficient your program is. And last, Strategic Goal 4. Strengthen our workforce and infrastructure. Strengthen our workforce. Recruit, train, develop, and retrain superior employees. Maintain secure and reliable information technology services. Increase efficiency of our physical infrastructure. Strategic Goal 4 tells us to make the organization be more productive and strong. So it needs more power, development, and knowledge. In that way, the organization is maintained and can have more programs for people.
General organizational goals. The goal approach gauges effectiveness by measuring to what degree the organization reached the goal it set out to achieve. This is the most traditional way of measuring organizational effectiveness. An organizational goal is a condition that an organization seeks to attain. The discussion here resides many problems with the concept of goals, but organization theories have developed some useful insight and distinction about them. For example, the mission statement that have become so popular in recent decades represent what organization theories would call official goals. Official goals are formal expression of general goals that present an organization, major values, and purposes. People in organization often consider goals important as expression of stimulate and generally orient employee to the organizational mission. In addition, clarifying goals for individuals and work groups can improve efficiency and productivity.
The goal approach. According to Herbert Simon, was pointed out that a goal is always embedded in a set of goals, which a person or group tries to maximize simultaneously, such as to achieve excellence in delivery of services to clients, but also keep the maintenance schedule up, keep the members happy and motivated, maintain satisfactory relation with legislator and interest groups, and so on. Many different coalition or stakeholders associated with an organization, managers, workers, clients, and constituency groups, oversight and regulatory agencies, legislator, courts, people in different subunits with different priorities for the organization, and so on can have different goals for the organization. One can also state goals at different levels of generality in various terms and in various time frames. Goals always link together in chains of means and ends, in which an immediate objective can be expressed as a goal but ultimately serves as a means to be a more general or longer term goal. In addition, researchers and consultants can have a hard time specifying organization goals because the people in the organization have difficulty stating or admitting the real goals.
The system resources approach is concerned on whether an organization can attain value or resources from its environment to sustain itself. They place the effectiveness criteria in hierarchy with the organizational ability to exploit internal resources and opportunity and ultimate criterion. They regarded this criteria as the ultimate immeasurable by itself. It has to be inferred by the measuring the next highest or penultimate criteria which they identify in the study of the insurance company. These criteria include such factors of business volume, market penetration, usefulness of the organizational member and production, and the maintenance cost. They develop these factors by using a statistical technique to group together measurement of organizational activities and characteristics such as the sales and the numbers of policies in force, drawing a survey that conducted in the same companies. They also examine the relationship between a lower order subsidiary variables and such as the communication and managerial supportiveness and the penultimate factors. This shows that effectiveness produced now can lead to effective outcome later and emphasize the importance of examining such as the relationship over time. To represent the system resources approach for the public agency, they examine on how many resources such as equipment, funds, personnel, meeting rooms, an agency provide to other agencies in the study resources outfall, and how many they receive from the other agencies resources inflow. They also calculate a score on how much the resources flowing in exceed resources flowing outside. They found that the higher level of the resources flowing into an agency, the higher the level of the resources flowing out. The more effectiveness the agency thus appear better able to develop the effectiveness exchange with the other agency using their own resources to attract resources. Of course, the effectiveness of the public agency involves many additional dimensions, but this study offers an interest analysis of one means of examination is.
Participant satisfaction models. The participant satisfaction approach focuses on whether members of an organization feel that it fulfills their needs or that they share its goals and work to achieve them. Other approach involves asking participants about their satisfaction with organization. This approach can figure importantly in managing an organization, but it has serious limitation if participants is conceived too narrowly. Participants include not just employees but also suppliers, customers, regulators, and external controllers and allies. The participant satisfaction approach also adds critical insights to our thinking about effectiveness. But even these expanded versions of the approach run into issues when it comes to dealing with the overall societal importance of an organization's performance. Organizations also have an impact on the broader public's or society's interests, as well as the interests of persons who are not even distantly linked with the organization as participants.
Human resources approach is a systematic approach for enhancing the performance of an organization and its employees through planned intervention. Such intervention may focus on team performance, employee development, operational efficiency, organizational structure, and productivity. These human resources do not involve complete conception of organizational effectiveness, but public management often employ them and expert assessing the public organization apply them. Internal process approach. Internal process approaches to organizational effectiveness assess it by referring to such factors as internal communication, leadership style, motivation, interpersonal trust, and other internal state assumed to be desirable. This approach assesses effectiveness through the smooth functioning of organizational operation. This is achieved through information management, documentation, and continuous consolidation.
The Government Performance Project, an example of internal process application, one of the most elaborate initiatives in assessing effectiveness of governments and government agencies. The Government Performance Project, or GPP, received considerable professional and public attention at turn of 21st century. Many different coalition or stakeholders associated with an organization, managers, workers, clients, and constituency groups, oversight and regulatory agencies, legislator, courts, people in different subunits with different priorities for the organization, and so on can have different goals for the organization. One can also state goals at different levels of generality in various terms and in various time frames. Goals always link together in chains of means and ends, in which an immediate objective can be expressed as a goal but ultimately serves as a means to be a more general or longer term goal. In addition, researchers and consultants can have a hard time specifying organization goals because the people in the organization have difficulty stating or admitting the real goals. It involved one of the most widely applied efforts, if not the most widely applied effort, ever undertaken to assess effectiveness of government entities. In 1996, supported by grant from a few charitable trusts, researchers at the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs at Syracuse University, in a partnership with representatives of Governing magazine developed a process of rating the management capacity goal, and state governments and federal agencies in the United States. In spite of its name, the GPP does not measure performance directly, but rather evaluates the capacity of management systems in governing entities and thus represents a variant of an internal process model. The GPP evaluates 5 management system areas. These are the financial management, human resources management, capital management, information technology management, and lastly, the managing of results. The assessments also seek to determine how will this management system are integrated in government or government agency.
That is the 30 criteria of organizational effectiveness, dimensions, and measures. And the organizational effectiveness has long been the subject of numerous studies through different models. Nevertheless, a comparative result between some models of organizational effectiveness is higher education shows overlapping. As researchers try to incorporate more complex sets of criteria, it becomes evident that organizations pursue diverse goals, respond to diverse interests, which imposes trade-offs. Cameron 1978 published the results of a survey of colleges and universities in which he gathered a range of effectiveness measures. He discovered that organizations have a variety of purposes and responds to a variety of interests which necessitates trade-offs. An organization's performance on one criterion may be hampered by its poor performance on another. One institution had a high level of community involvement, while the other had a low one.
The competing values approach. The competing values approach can help to articulate the explicit performance of effectiveness values held by international organization members and those of various other relevant constituents. As such as it can be a useful tool for administration, particularly when used as a component of a largest assessment strategy. There's a panel that indicate the criteria group together along 3 value dimensions. The first dimension, organizational focus, range from internal emphasis in the well-being of organization member to an external focus on success of the organization. The second dimension is concerned with control as opposed to flexibility. The third involves relative concentration on means, such as good planning or such as achieving productivity goals. As pointed out, that this dimension reflects fundamental dilemmas that social scientists have debated for a long time. Means versus ends, flexibility versus control and stability, internal versus external orientation. The dimension combine to represent the 4 models of effectiveness. First, the human relation model emphasizes flexibility in internal processes and improved cohesion and morale as a means of developing the people in organization. Second, the internal process models also has an internal focus, but it emphasizes control through maintaining sound information, auditing, and review system as means to achieve stability at the external end. Third, the open system models emphasize responsiveness to the environment with flexibility in extraction and process as a means to achieve growth and acquired resources. Fourth, the rational goals models emphasize careful planning to maximize efficiency. The competing values approach express the values in high generalized form and doesn't address more specific. Nevertheless, it provides valuable insight into the effectiveness of public organization, especially on the point that the criteria are multiple, shifting, and conflicting.
The Balanced Scorecard, according to Kaplan and Norton, developed the Balanced Scorecard to prevent a narrow concentration on financial measures in business auditing and control system. A device for use by business firms, this model has been used by government organizations in innovative ways. Interestingly, Kaplan and Norton also described applications in the public sector that were in effect before description of their model were published. Sunnyvale, California, a city rapidly recognized for its excellence in management, had for more than 20 years produced annual performance reports stating goals and performance indicators for each major policy area.
Effectiveness in organizational network. Government programs and policies has always involved complex clusters of individuals, groups, organizations, but such patterns of network have become even more prevalent in recent decades. A variety of developments have fueled this trend, including the increase of privatization, contracting of the public service, greater involvement of the nonprofit sector in the public service delivery, complex problems that exceed on the capacity of one organization as well as the other trend. The growing significance of the network raised the challenge for the researchers, theory, and practice in public administrations, especially the relationship of the effectiveness of the public organization and public management. Such situations do not involve typical and traditional chain of command. For managers, the lines of accountability and authority are loosened, and the management of the network requires more reliance on the trust and collaboration than the programs operate within the hierarchy of one organization. In addition, network brings up new questions about assessing effectiveness and achieving it, and researchers have developed new and important insight of such matters. Example is they found this service were provided by the network of the different organizations, each of which provide some type of service or part of the packaged mental health service that are available in the area. The researcher pointed out that such of networks of the organization are a real measure of the effectiveness should not be focused on individuals' organization. Instead, it must be think in terms of the effectiveness of the entire network. They then examine that the characteristic of the network and the relation to this measure are effectiveness. They found that the most effectiveness to the for mental health service network was centralized and concentrate around the primary organization. The government fund of the system went directly to the agency, which played a strong central role in the coordinating of the other organizations to deliver a service. Development of the finding of this research, this study is more like into principles of the governance of the network. They conclude that a network will mostly likely to be effective when a powerful core agency integrates the network. The mechanism of the fiscal control by the state are direct and not fragmented. Resources are plentiful and the network is stable. Additionally, they have further developed ideas about how one must evaluate the networks, pointing out the assessing and the effectiveness of the network requires evaluation on the multiple levels.
Managing goals and effectiveness. To raise basic issues concerning the goals of public organizations that allegedly influence their operations and characteristics. The effectiveness principles and models provide a background and general theme for the topics to be explored. The complexities of these notions, as well as the lack of clear model of success, present obstacles for both researchers and practitioners.
Effectiveness of public organization. The effectiveness of an organization depends on its mission and goals, internal efficiency, strategic positioning, and many factors. As noted at the outset of this book and this chapter, belief about the effectiveness of public organization and about their performance in comparison to business firm are important part of culture of the United States and other countries. These beliefs and perceptions have influenced some of the major political departments in recent decades, and one could argue that they have helped shape the history of the other nation. The assessing the effectiveness of organization involves many complexity. Assessing the performance of the complex population of organization is even more complicated.